Well, there's lots of noise. There's nothing I can do about it, but I've put the music on as loud as I can. Welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Welcome to the Pure Energy Healing Academy. Today we're going to talk about a specific story that I put out on social media with regards to a young girl who was suffering night terrors. Everybody, nearly everybody, was so needy of what that crystal was that helped her through the night terrors and the bullying at school and so on. I didn't feel that the crystal really played the biggest part in that, and I was kind of surprised to see how many people were so aggressive and so angry and so needy about the name of the crystal that was used. They didn't really read the story and understand the story to the degree of why I wrote that story and what that actual story meant to me from the rest of my working career as a healer. In fact, I'm absolutely gobsmacked that people didn't read the story and understand the story, because the story had nothing to do with the crystal per se if you were to read the story. So the story basically goes like this. There was a lovely day that I was just sat and enjoyed myself, and I did a few healing sessions, and I remember, this is way back when, I remember a lady gifting me a crystal. It was a red crystal with like little dots in it. And I thought, oh, that's kind. And because I was a healer, people were gifting me all sorts of things. So I put that crystal in my pocket right at the beginning of my career, okay? So this is when I just first started. Didn't really know much about crystals at all, but I knew about how to heal, and I knew about the psychic work that I was doing with angel cards and tarot cards. So I said a big thank you, gave her a hug, and I remember getting up and doing my next class. I must have had something to eat, and then went back to giving a healing session. I remember taking this crystal out for some reason and holding it in my hand while I was giving the healing session. And I was wondering why I was holding this crystal. And as I was holding this crystal, I was giving healing to the client. And then something said, take that crystal and place it on the client's head. So I put it on here and here round about the sides when the head was down. So I kept moving the crystal and putting it there and giving healing. And when I'd finished, the client will give me a hug and said that they suffered with huge trauma in the head, headaches, migraines, all sorts of pains and stuff. Anyway, that client went, and I noticed a pattern that people were coming and were talking about real bad pains and also really struggling to sleep on a night. And I was giving these healing sessions and working on the heart and working on the head, and this crystal kept coming out, and I kept putting it on the heart and putting my hand over the crystal. Every time I would then take the crystal out, I was more comfortable with it, and I'd hold it in my hand for a few seconds, put some heat into it, right, so it was warm, and then put it on the third eye and put my hand over the crystal and give energy healing. So it could have been between 10 and 20 people that came with the same issues, couldn't sleep properly, nightmares, night terrors, and just people who were generally in a bad place, people who were bullied, and that kind of energy. So I used to keep this crystal in my pocket, not even thinking, no clue to why I kept the crystal and why I kept bringing it out. Felt right. It felt like I was listening to being guided. A day came when I had a phone call from a client, a friend, and would I go for a coffee, and we just had a chat. But as we were chatting, we were sat down, and there was a table, and it was a low table, I think it was glass. Anyway, for some reason, I'd got this crystal in my hand, and we're having a nice chat, laughing away, and I put the crystal down on the table. Now, this lady had brought her daughter, who was very, very young. She flew round the table and grabbed the crystal. We're still having a conversation. I don't really know much about crystals. It's just a gift. It didn't really mean anything. And the little girl was besotted by it. So as we went, I never even thought about it. I don't even know where I remember saying, oh yeah, keep it, or she just took it. It wasn't even important to me. So That said, a week or two later, I had a phone call from this lady, and basically we ended up talking about her daughter, and she was trying to explain to me something that was the turning point in my understanding about crystals. And that was, she said, Mark, listen to this. My daughter has been suffering from night terrors for as long as they can remember. And if I can remember right, she woke up at a certain time on a night screaming, okay? And I went, oh, okay. I didn't know where it was going, but she was telling me this conversation. I didn't know that. And then she explained that her daughter at school was being bullied and she was struggling at school. And she said, Mark, I need to tell you something. The day that I came to see you, that night, the night terrors stopped. She slept all the way through. And up till today, she slept all the way through. No night terrors. She comes back from school and she's happy. No bullying. And I went, I'm confused, right? Oh, okay. And then she says, I can only put it down to one thing. And I said, what's that? She says, the crystal that you let my daughter have, she has never taken it out of her hand. She sleeps with it. And that is the only thing. Because for me, I'm like, okay, my mind is like, okay, well, what have you done different? Something might have you fed her something different? Are you playing different music? Is there something that has happened in the house? Have you changed anything, done anything, been anywhere different? No, the only thing that's changed is the crystal that she took hold of from you that day. I went and sat down and I thought about it. And as I was thinking about it, all the thoughts of that moment when the crystal was first given to me, to the point where this all makes sense, because the clients that I had had over the time of that crystal, up until the little girl took the crystal, made sense. People were suffering with bullying of partners. People were suffering with problems with the head, with not being able to sleep. And it was like, imagine looking at a jigsaw and there's 3 pieces missing, and all of a sudden you can see the 3 pieces and where they're going to fit. That's how it felt. So the only conclusion that I came to at that point was, could it be that if I lay a crystal on a client, if she tells me she's got problems with, let's say, menopause, cramps, issues with spiritual issues and physical, could it be if I'm giving healing to that person and a crystal, any crystal is on top of that client, and I'm putting my hand over that client, that the energy that's being brought through is so understanding towards the healing process of every single person? Could it be that there is memory now in that crystal to help heal that person of exactly what my client has just been healed from? The answer to this day is a resounding clang of yes. You can put a memory into a crystal if you know how to channel pure energy healing or healing. And that was the moral of the story. What crystal was it? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the energy that is put into that crystal is the most important thing. So when I work on a crystal, like today, I'm working on some beautiful tourmalines, I'm working on some mango quartz, and some Herkimer diamonds. They hold their own unique healing vibration. But if you can sit and channel the energy of what you believe you need in that crystal, and then you can put it on your website and say, this crystal helps with this, it's because of what I've channeled to put into that crystal for, say, 1 hour or 20 hours or 100 hours or 300 hours, depending on how long I work with that crystal. So when I work with a crystal, I write down what I channeled that afternoon. So let's say today I'm channeling an energy that is good for mantra, good for meditation, good for relaxation. If I'm working on that energy, after 1 hour or 2 hours, I'll write down those bullet points. And that's why this conversation right now of what happened all those years ago up till this moment has made my website one of the most sought after crystal websites in the world, because people will tell you they feel an energy that is as described on each of the crystals that I sell. And a lot of crystal healers get very upset with me and say, no, that crystal doesn't work like that. And I say, I don't work with a crystal like you work with a crystal. I put a memory into those crystals that I've been doing for 20 years. And in those 20 years, they've worked on clients. And this is how I work. So to answer your question, because even though I've said this, you're still wanting to know what that crystal is. So I'll tell you what that crystal was. In my memory, I remember a red crystal with little dots in here and there. And if I am to be asked exactly what that crystal is, I can't be 100% sure, but I would say it was a jasper. And I think it was a red jasper, to make you feel better. Okay, guys. The reason why I don't really say anything like that, because you might run out and get a red jasper and then say to me, it didn't work on my daughter, she's still getting night terrors. And I'll go, yeah, because that wasn't the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that you have to learn how to heal and put that very healing energy into the crystal, which I do, and that was the moral of the story. But hey ho, everybody has their own thoughts and feelings, and that's fine. Everybody works differently, and that's how it should be. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all. Okay, take that away now. And on a side note, just to remind you all, we've still got a few more days left. If you go to markbajerski.com and buy audiobook, ebook, every £5 get turned into a ticket. And those tickets are going over there in a basket over there. And in a few days' time, I'm going to pull out 13 names to win one of these beautiful crystals here. Look at that beauty. Beautiful Moldavite, Tektite, and Herkimer diamond. Yeah, anyway, all these crystals here that I've shown you many times before. So that's one thing. So thank you for, and all the money, every single penny will go towards our Richie Allen radio show to keep it going. And secondly, there's I think 3 more days. Is it 2? It might be 3 more days or 4 more days. I don't know. 3 or 4 more days. I don't know. It's either 3 or 4 days. If you buy a crystal at 120, we will then send you another crystal free. I will channel an energy and feel which crystal will work for you. But also, what I'd like to do is, in that channeling, is I'd also like for you to take that crystal, wear it with the intention, you can do what you want with it, but my thought was, what a great intention this is. Wear it until somebody might say to you, what a beautiful crystal. Then you take it off and give it them. Or you just feel when you're talking to that person that you want to gift them a crystal. You take it off and gift it and just say, this is from my heart to yours. So yeah, it's basically me giving you a crystal to gift to somebody else. And it's nice to gift. You don't mention my name. It's, you're doing it. We're doing it because it's this special offer for these few days. And that's it. I'll put the 2 links below, and I wish you all a lovely day. Thank you for not making too much noise. It's been wonderful. I'm sorry if I upset you by saying what I've said in that story. It wasn't meant to upset you, but it was meant to make you think that if you hold a crystal in your hand and put that energy into it, that memory into it of healing, that crystal then will have a memory of healing other people or yourself. It's just something that has worked for me over these 2 decades, and I try and share that with you guys, and that's what the story was about. But yes, I believe it could have been red jasper. Have a great day. Love you all.